Well, hi there, food friends. It's Kevin.
It sure is, and I'm Ralph behind the camera, and he likes to cook, and I like to eat.
So it always works out. Well, we're glad you're here. And
welcome to Cavalcade of Food.
Welcome to Cavalcade of Food. We need to remind people of that. We also want to share with people that Ralph told me earlier. He said, "You know whose birthday it is today?" And I said, "No." And whose was it, Ralph's?
The pride of Steubenville, Ohio, Mr. Dean Martin.
Mr. Dean Martin.
The king of cool.
Yep, so we love Dean Martin, and I'm sure that many of you do too. We love his music.
We love his style.
We do.
And we love his heritage.
And when you think Dean Martin, you think Italian. So we're going to make Italian.
Or as they say in Dearborn, Italian.
Right. And we're gonna make some stuffed shells in honor of Dean Martin's birthday, and we're gonna do two things. First we're gonna make a quick sauce, and then we're gonna get onto the shells. So, Ralph, what I've got here is I've got a few cloves of garlic, like 3.
I can already smell the olive oil, which smells delicious.
Yeah, and
I've got
tablespoon of olive oil or so here.
So you squeeze that
the garlic right in there, although I should get a knife to
scrape it.
And of course, when you crush garlic like this too, it's a great way to get all the garlic, the oils and that's in the garlic out. So I'm just going to keep crushing here. Mm-hmm. Now you don't want the garlic to cook too much. Just enough to get that fragrance.
Yeah, that's a good.
Okay, I'm going to take it off the heat here.
Good sign that it's ready, right? I think you told me that before.
And I got a couple more cloves here.
So when you can start to smell the olive oil and the garlic combined, that's when you know it's doing its thing, and you don't want to overdo it.
Exactly, because garlic burns quickly.
So you take it off the heat.
Yeah. So we've got our garlic in, very fragrant. I'm going to give it a quick saute. Then I've got a 28-ounce can here of crushed tomatoes. I'm going to put that in there. And I've got a, 15-ounce can of tomato sauce.
Great.
So I like the crushed tomatoes because of the texture, because it's just tomatoes that have been crushed up, so they're kind of pulpy. And then, of course, the tomato sauce is very smooth.
So it's a combination of the two that creates the body of the sauce.
Exactly. Now everybody spaghetti sauce and red sauce, or some people call it gravy. Recipes, everybody has one that maybe, was handed down to them, that's part of their family tradition. By all means, use that. This is just a quick sauce that I like to make.
One of these days, we're going to do my brother-in-law Frank's slow-cooked pasta sauce and gravy, as the true Italians call it. But this is, as Kevin said, a quick sauce.
So what we've got in terms of seasoning right now is just the garlic in there. I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of pepper, a teaspoon of sugar, maybe a half teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes, and a couple of bay leaves. We're going to put those seasonings in there, okay? And we're going to stir that around. Now, there's more seasonings to go in, but what we're going to do is we're going to take advantage of our herb garden that we have, and we're going to put in some fresh herbs, but we're not going to put those in until a little bit later. Sometimes when you put fresh herbs in something particularly that cooks a long time, the flavor sort of cooks out a little bit. So we're just going to let this come up to a simmer, and in the meantime, we're going to get stuff together for our filling for our stuffed shells.
And this is one of our first full meals on the new rotated stove that we put in recently.
The 1955 Crosley. We are back, and we are working on our stuffed shells that we're making. So I've got our quick sauce simmering on the stove. I've got water coming to a boil.
Dean Martin on the stereo.
It's his birthday. I've got some shells waiting to go in the water.
Those are big.
Yeah. And in the meantime, we're going to put together our filling for our stuffed shells. So here's what I've got. This is a 24-ounce container of ricotta cheese. Ricotta.
And 24 ounces mixed eventually with spinach.
So, and that's actually, we're going to put that in next. So I've defrosted I think it was a 12-ounce bag of frozen chopped spinach, and then I drained it out because there's always a lot of water in the spinach. We're going to put in a nice dose of salt.
Healthy sampling of salt.
Yeah. And
S&P.
And then we're going to also put in some nice coarse pepper here. And then to kind of bring it all together.
I love how Kevin cracks eggs. He's such a pro.
Wow.
I'm a mess when I crack eggs. There are shells everywhere.
That's okay. I've cracked a lot of them in my day, and I've had to fish out lots of shells. But anyways, so this is practice.
So this is the stuffing for the shells, the pasta that we're going to bake.
Yes, and as you can see, we're going to just kind of work it in to kind of loosen up the spinach, because sort of when you press the spinach, you get the water out. It
gets clumpy.
Exactly, it gets clumpy.
And so this breaks it up, and along with the liquid of the ricotta, kind of helps mix it. And then you added the coarse salt and the pepper, which you need to blend in as well, and the eggs to bind it. So it's all coming together.
Yeah, see how pretty that is? Actually, it's really beautiful, I think.
Yeah.
So
it's the love of food.
That's really all that is. You got the apron? It's one of our favorite quotes right there. But how true. So, all right.
Food is love, love is food.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to go out to the herb garden and snip some fresh herbs for our sauce. I hear the water coming up to a boil, and we'll get our shells in. I've got about 30 large shells here. That is about as much as this recipe will fill. So we'll come back and we'll get all this put together.
We'll show you how those fit into a nice baking dish or two.
All right, so our water is a-boiling, and here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take the lid off, and I'm going to put in a little bit of salt, and then here's our shells, and in they go. So we're going to
take.
We don't want these too overcooked. We want them al dente because, one, if they're too soft, they're very hard to work with.
To put the filling in?
Yes, when you're filling them. So you want them cooked.
Almost undercooked because they're
a little bit. They're gonna bake in the oven too. Exactly, Ralph. So you know what? It's different for each pasta and
each stove.
You know, here these will probably go about 9, 10, 11 minutes, and then they'll be ready.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go pick some herbs.
Go cut some herbs. Okay, so we've got our herb garden here.
It's looking pretty healthy.
Yeah, it's starting to really perk up now. That the weather's been good, so we've got some of our classic kind of Italian herbs that we're going to use. So here's some oregano. You know, to me that's just so Italian.
Some people like the dried oregano, but fresh is good, and also I love basil, as you know.
Yeah, we're going to snip some of this basil. And let's see, we've got some parsley here. Maybe I'll come back and get some
for the salad.
But we've got some rosemary, which is nice. I'm going to take just a little bit. A little rosemary goes a long way. And then thyme. So we'll take a few sprigs of thyme.
And some of those sprigs, you just kind of pull them backwards to get the leaves off, and that's how you...
Yeah, exactly. That's really all you need. So,
right.
Oh, and it all smells so good.
That's going to be good.
So,
and as we said...
Fresh herbs do make the difference. They really do.
And we put them in at the end of the cooking process of the quick sauce, because otherwise they would...
A lot of the flavor would cook out.
They would cook out.
So this way you kind of will get the full impact of the fresh herbs.
Got it. Okay, let's put them in.
Okay, these are herbs here, Ralph.
Better than a chop-o-matic.
Yeah, we're just going to put a kind of a rough chop on them. When you smash herbs or cut them, that's when their oils are released, and you can really smell it. That's why, like when you have a mint julep or something, you smash the mint into the glass, or a mojito.
It's called mulling it.
Mulling, yes. When you do that, that really releases a lot of the flavor from the herb.
I like those little touches. A lot of times people think it's just a matter of throwing them in and just, mixing it all up. But yeah, there's a science and a chemistry and a certain touch of, I would call it love, of like mulling and not smashing. Smashing sounds wrong. But, putting it all together the right way.
Okay, so what we want to do here is first clean up the mess that I made. So.
Flash.
Okay.
All right, but it looks like that sauce is going to town, so that's good.
So I'm gonna.
How much longer will it cook once you put the fresh herbs in? Very long or not too long?
Not too long at all. So what I'm gonna do is put these in.
Just directly in. Oh, that looks good.
Yeah. So there's our fresh herbs. Now I've got it all the way down. We're gonna let this kind of cook in. Tomato sauce really splatters, as you can see.
Yeah,
which is why I put an apron on. Yes, and why apron.
But it's
absolute must.
Remember, folks, he started off with olive oil and the garlic, which gives it that body, that essential flavor that starts it off. And then over here we have the shells.
The shells, and I'm just gonna
test them out, see if they're ready to.
Yeah, another minute, and then we're gonna take those out. Okay.
And as we said, we want them a little bit on the undercooked side, al dente, because they're going to bake in the oven, and also so that they're easier to work with when we put the filling in.
Yeah, they've been in about 9 minutes. We're going to give them another minute or so. Okay, we're going to drain our shells here. Very good. Now what I'm going to do is we're just going to put them in here. I want the shells to cool off.
So that they're
because I got to handle them, and so it'll take a few minutes. So we're just going to let them hang out, cool off,
do their thing.
Yeah, and then we'll I'll get our baking pan ready for the shells.
And we'll do our thing while we listen to some more Dino.
So I've let the shells cool off for about 5-10 minutes so that I can handle them, and they're cooked, but they still have a little firmness to them, so it's easy to
fill them up. And so you want to close the two ends a little bit, or?
Well, I just try to make sure that they're nice and full, and sometimes the ends will touch, and sometimes they won't, but it's okay.
They kind of take care of themselves once they start baking, I would imagine.
They will. Plus, we're gonna top them with mozzarella cheese and sauce. So, if it's okay if the tops are, open. They'll get covered up with other stuff.
All right, so we'll come back when we've got a few more left, and then we'll pop them in the oven.
And you can see I'm just putting a nice full tablespoon of filling in each one, and we just keep on going. Okay, here we go.
Looks like the shells are all stuffed.
We got 29. 29, so I thought I would get 30, but we got 29. And that's great. Now here's what I'm going to do. We're going to take our nice quick sauce, and we're going to give them all just a nice little bath.
As our sous chef Marianne said, sauce them, then cheese them. That's what I remember. Sauce them, cheese them.
So I'm going to give these a nice little douse with our quick sauce here. That'll help keep them moist too while they bake. I've got the oven set at 325 degrees. Mm-hmm. Okay.
The other thing, it's a nice complement because you've got the ricotta and spinach, which is mild, and then you have this bold, flavorful herb sauce, quick sauce to go on top, and then more mild on top with the mozzarella.
And you pointed out, Ralph, that these great food colors, red, white, and green.
Yeah,
that we seem to often
gravitate towards the Italian and Mexican flags.
So I got 2 cups of mozzarella here, and I'm going to use all of it. We're just going to kind of put a nice even coat over our shells.
Pretty much the whole thing. It's almost like making a lasagna or a pizza or something.
In a lot of ways, yeah, it really is.
Didn't you say at one point this is almost like a lasagna in a shell? Because you're baking it?
Yes, you're baking it. It's got the cheese, it's got the pasta, it's got the sauce. All the elements are the same. It's just the package is a little different. Okay, so we're going to put this in. And you know what? You want the cheese just to melt. And whoops. And of course, everything's pretty much cooked except the ricotta filling. So looks like we have a little And so, anyways, we want that to get cooked and the cheese to melt and get gooey on top. So we're looking at maybe about 35 or 40 minutes at the most.
Wow,
Okay, in a
can't wait.
325 degree oven.
Sure smells good in
It
here.
sure does. All right, hey everybody, we are back, and it's been about 35 minutes, and it's time to, oh, there it is. Look at that.
Wow, those are the big shells?
Yep. You can see that cheese. Now, we really let the cheese get brown because we like it brown. But
It's got the whole kitchen has that great toasted cheese
Yes,
smell, like
it
almost like a
does.
toasted cheese sandwich.
and
that
let me just show you what's going on here. So,
Yeah, where are the shells?
see, the shells are underneath the layer of cheese.
Maybe you should start cutting them into pieces
here's
for the company,
Yeah,
and that'll
See.
be a good way to show.
look at that. Look how beautiful these are.
Yeah.
Okay, see?
Do some cutting.
So,
Then we
anyways, we've got friends over for dinner, and I'm gonna separate these shells, and we're gonna get them out on the table. Then we have sauce left over that we put it on the
did you
plate.
mention that? Yeah, the sauce that Kevin put on the shells before he put them in
So,
the oven is good to hold on
Check
to.
that out. And that, aren't those beautiful?
Mhm.
Yes. So, stuffed shells. Dean Martin's birthday, and
I'm gonna take them outside and eat them.
yeah. Do you have anything to put them on the?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, okay.
Do you miss it that you don't go down there now?
We're gonna put some.
Hot pan?
Is that what you need? A hot pan?
Yeah, he didn't have a hot pan, so I just put it there. So, there's our
serving.
stuffed shells.
I want to see us eating them. Dean Martin in the background.
And some nice stuffed shells.
Al fresco. Is that what you call it when you eat outside?
Yes. And a little sauce. And there we are. So we're going to serve these up.
It is almost like a lasagna with the baked shells.
What do you put in your stuffing besides spinach and ricotta?
And ricotta and some
Salt
just
and pepper.
basic
and
stuff.
a couple of eggs to bind it. And that's really it. So,
I just want to see somebody take
one
a
of
bite.
these times we're going to have to go over to Mama Nona's, all of us.
Where's that?
It's in Point Edward in Canada. Over in,
Okay.
All right, let's give it a taste test,
and it's
Kev.
a chalkboard.
So.
I'll get it. Thanks. It's a chalkboard Italian restaurant, and it's just
Is that hitting the spot?
yeah, it is. The pasta's nice and tender, and then you kind of get that creamy spinach filling, and of course our quick tomato sauce. So
Are you tasting the herbs from the garden over there?
very good. So, anyways, talk about a comfort food. We're gonna enjoy our stuffed shells. We're gonna finish celebrating Dean Martin's birthday, and thanks you all for being a part of this. Hope you had a good time. We sure did.
Happy birthday, Dean.
Yeah.
Dino.
Next time.